You know, every day Americans or people all over the world are faced with some form of fraud. And one area that is really hard hit are our seniors. And when it comes to dealing with Medicare, getting equipment, things like that, I mean, it's out there and it's terrible, and we need to be educated about it. Well, Danielle Guillory is the Community Outreach Specialist for Senior Medicare Patrol. You're the cops to go after these people.
We are. Senior Medicare Patrol is a federally funded program through the Administration for Community Living. Here in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Georgia, we are sponsored by AdviseWell. Senior Medicare Patrol is in all 50 states, and we've been around for 27 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
We work with the Office of the Inspector General, and what we do is go out and educate our seniors. We empower them so that they can monitor their own Medicare information and report it, and then we report that to the Office of the Inspector General, and they go after the fraudsters. So we depend on the seniors in order for them to look at their information and make sure that they are not being scammed.
And that's one of the major problems that they have with seniors, is because these scammers find them as an easy target because they might not really understand what's going on, and they you know, tell them, well, this is what you need. You know, this is what I can do for you, this is what you need, and ends up costing them a lot of money.
It does. We find that durable medical equipment is the biggest portion of our frauds and scams. What has happened is people call them on the phone, they ask them questions, they have just enough information about them that it sounds legitimate, and they will say to them, hey, does your back hurt, does your knee hurt, we can offer you a brace. Or they offer free diabetic supplies, which is a valid thing. People can get their diabetic supplies mailed to them, but they need to go through their physician to do that. Same with the back or knee braces. Sometimes they don't actually get the back or knee brace. It's never going to fit. It's not going to be what they needed because they didn't go through their physicians to do it. And the biggest durable medical equipment fraud we are seeing right now is urinary catheters.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. We are seeing senior or Medicare beneficiaries charged sometimes for 12 months worth of urinary catheters that they don't use nor need. And if they're not looking at their Medicare summary notice, or if they have a Medicare Advantage plan, they're not looking at their explanation of benefits to see that this is a problem.
Now, this has become more of a problem here over recent years?
In this past year, that is the biggest thing we are seeing. I saw a senior in Bay St. Louis the other day who had 12 months worth of urinary catheters. So this is not an away problem. This is a problem here right on the coast where we are seeing seniors charged with this. Senior Medicare fraud is a $60 to $100 billion a year industry.
Do what?
Every year, Medicare loses $60 to $100 billion to fraud, waste, and abuse.
Oh my gosh.
Senior citizens are very trusting. They were raised in an era where people had their best interest at heart. So when someone calls them, identifies themselves as either a Medicare provider or
supplier,
any of that they are giving their information over the phone. The easiest way to avoid that is just don't give out your information on the phone. Remember, Medicare and Social Security will never call you. The IRS is not calling you to tell you you owe a bill. The police department does not call you to tell you that they're coming to get you. All of these things are fraud, waste, and abuse. And if we don't stop this, Medicare cannot support that kind of loss.
And there's so many different choices that whenever you do become eligible for Medicare, and you have to start taking Medicare, there's so many different choices if you're not sure of what to do, and that's an easy way to get scammed in itself.
Absolutely. We see the biggest portion of fraud during open enrollment, which is October the 15th to December 7th. They're just bombarded. I haven't gotten to Medicare yet, and I'm bombarded. When we go out on the internet and we put information in somewhere, even if it's a legitimate site, what we don't understand is they sell our data, which includes our age. And that gives the fraudsters, who are not scrupulous people, an age range to go by.
And if you, like you said, if you go online and you put something, even your birth date on something like that, and they're able to go on there and find it and say, oh, this person is eligible for Medicare, has Medicare or whatever, because I have Medicare, just Part A, because I still work full-time here. But I know there'll become a time when I'm going to have to go with others, but I have someone here locally that I work with on keeping me educated on the proper things, so I don't have to worry about getting scammed.
Exactly. Go with someone you trust. Do not give your information out on the internet, out on the telephone, unless you have initiated the phone call.
Right.
If you've called a local agent to ask information, that's great. You know who you're talking to. But if someone is calling you or you're seeing that phone number on TV, especially late at night, that's when they put out those ads, don't call those numbers. Call a local person.
What can people do to help stop Medicare fraud?
Just those things. Don't give your information out over the telephone. If someone calls you and identifies themselves as being from a local hospital, a local doctor's office, just say, look, I don't have that information with me right now. Let me call you back. And then you look up the phone number for those places, the doctor's office, the hospitals, and you call them back. Then you know who you're talking to. A lot of times we're seeing that those are not legitimate calls. The other thing you can do is volunteer for your community. You can call Senior Medicare Patrol. We have volunteers. You can call our toll-free number, which is 877-272-8720, and you can either volunteer or you can just join us at health fairs, at senior events. We go to all of the places that seniors gather, and you can also reach out to a community outreach specialist who can come out and do an education session for your group.
That's awesome. Danielle Guillory, thank you so much for being with us this morning, talking about what you need to be aware of if you're a senior. If you have any questions, fear that you may have been committed fraud against, give them a call at the Senior Medicare Patrol. Phone number is on your screen. Thank you so much.